Would you bring it up?
Well, the bill that's going to pass
To extend the subsidies, that later vote.
I can't commit to anything that hasn't even passed through the Senate yet.
Will you have a vote on the issue as your 13 Republicans, frontline Republicans, people that you're the speaker because of them?
Yes.
They're in districts that are vulnerable.
Sure.
Will you have a vote so they can vote?
The very people that you were citing in the letter believe we have to have real reform.
So you're not committing to bringing up a bill that deals with the Obamacare subsidies before they expire?
I'm not committing to it or not committing to it.
So, not shocking at all. The Democrats let us down. At least 8 Senate Democrats let us down. And funny enough, none of them are up for re-election in 2026. Funny how that works. Thank you for tuning in to My Brother's Ballot. I'm your boy Pothery. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Please, please, please subscribe. We are on our way to a new milestone of 5,000. Clicking subscribe definitely helps the channel grow. So let's get into it. I was watching Abby Phillipps' Newsnight with Sarah Seidner stepping in for Abby Phillip as she is on her book tour. Congratulations. And of course, they were talking about the Democrats essentially caving around the government shutdown. Let's get into it.
That Democrats were afraid of, that if they capitulated, that the subsidies would not be dealt with. How do you respond to that? There are a lot of people worried about how expensive their health care is about to get.
Yeah, first of all, Congressman, congrats on your book. Honored to be with you tonight. Second, look, one thing that came out of this entire fight is that the healthcare system in this country has been, Obamacare, has been exposed as a complete and utter failure. We all know it now. Everybody admits it. The other thing that came out is that Democrats are willing to make people suffer. And you heard Democrat after Democrat today say, well, we just couldn't prolong the suffering. So they admit that their political tactics were designed to inflict suffering on the American people. We also learned about cynical politics in this. But the overall issue of health care is going to have to be dealt with because the system has failed. Everyone, I think it's bipartisan now, admits it. But I'm not sure that having Mike Johnson commit to giving billions of dollars to insurance companies for insurance that's not getting any better, it feels like it's getting worse to the American people, is going to make a difference.
So I would like to highlight, prior to this agreement, Scott and all of his MAGA goons and cronies have been on this show basically saying if the Democrats open the government, there will be a vote. Now they are changing their tune. I don't understand why Mike Johnson would even open up a vote just to give billions of dollars to these insurance companies. Do you see how they're already backtracking on it? Just yesterday, these people were saying, if you open up the government, we will give a vote. And the clip that I just started with, now Mike Johnson isn't even saying that he's willing to even do a vote. So again, I ask the 8 Democrats, the 8 Democratic senators, why did you capitulate to the Republican Party? And when Scott says, we've learned that the Democrats are okay with suffering. No, that's actually not true. The Democrats are not okay with suffering. You guys are okay with suffering. There was no reason that SNAP benefits had to be on the table in order to reopen the government. There were contingency funds for SNAP benefits, just as there was in the first shutdown in the Trump administration.
Getting worse to the American people is going to make a difference. I could see Democrats and Republicans coming together to discuss that. Like, if we're going to spend this amount of money, should we be just giving it to insurance companies, or should we be doing something else with it that would actually have a chance of making it feel like you could get seen by a doctor and get a better health outcome? But what we're doing now, writing checks to health insurance companies, is not getting us any better outcomes at all.
But Scott, with all respect, you cannot put on the American people that Democrats were the one that were hurting people, making this plight.
Who was casting the votes against opening the government? Democrats or Republicans?
Who was
casting the votes?
Scott, who was wanting to cut SNAP benefits?
Nobody. Republicans.
Essentially, it is true that Democrats were keeping the government from being open, but we all know the reasons were because of the ACA subsidies. Now, when he says who was trying to starve the American people, and even prior to the government shutdown, the big, beautiful bill cut $186 billion from the SNAP program. So they were already wanting to do this. The Trump administration was the administration that wanted Americans to be hungry, not Democrats.
Nobody.
Who was playing up SNAP benefits after 2 courts ruled that it was unallowed?
Republicans voted to fund SNAP 15 times. Democrats voted to defund it 15
And you talk
times,
about
and
the
now
affordable.
it took, and we
you
had
talk
to get
about
8
the
to join.
affordable.
And I'm sorry, I know you guys hate when I pause so much, but Scott lies so much, I have to correct this. Democrats did not vote to defund it. It actually was already defunded by the big, beautiful bill, which I had already stated.
Voted to defund it 15
And you talk
times,
about
and
the
now it
affordable.
took, and
And
we
you
had to
talk
get
about the
8 to join
affordable
us.
health care. You talk about the Affordable Health Care Act. Okay,
It's terrible.
landmark legislation is not perfect. We understand that Democrats,
That
Republicans,
is
Independents,
an understatement.
70% of Americans, not Democrats, not just Independents, 70% of Americans believe that they should increase those subsidies past the dead mark of December, the COVID era subsidy benefits. So it's a huge, huge thing that Democrats, Republicans, 70% agree with. And I don't understand, and which I would love others to help me out understand. I don't understand why we caved so soon when the American people seem to be on our
Because the
side.
election ended. You just said it. It was for the election.
Listen,
The election ended.
Hold
Then
on
you
a
caved.
second.
I know a lot of Republicans. I know a lot of Democrats. They're cut from different cloths. Democrats simply don't have the cold-heartedness necessary to see people suffering and just say, let them eat cake.
Yeah, but then
they are
voted
not the
to keep
types
the
that
They
they're
government
voted
not
repeatedly to
nice.
do it. I mean, you just heard Democrats
And what
on
was
our
Donald
air.
Trump doing in the meantime?
He doesn't have a vote in the legislature.
No,
Abe.
he's the
You
president
just-
of the United States,
you just-
the most
Anna,
powerful president with Republicans
just
in my
played-
lifetime,
we just
Scott.
played-
He never once even told them, come back to Washington.
We just
You
played
guys
Democrat.
have been out of Washington for a month and a half.
Correct.
A month and a half.
Anna,
I'm
we
gonna
just
let
played
Brianna
Democrat
get a-
after
get a
Democrat
word in.
admit that the Democratic plan to prolong the shutdown was causing, quote, suffering. That was their words, not mine. Democrats themselves realized the tactic of suffering was no longer something they.
Well, to be very clear, and to 2 points that Anna made. One, Trump is the most powerful Republican president simply off the fact that they follow and do everything at his whim. That is why we're having such a huge issue with gerrymandering, when he can literally go on social media and say to the Texas Republicans, hey, redraw those maps, because I'm not trying to lose the House. So when Scott says that he's not in charge of anything, he is literally the most powerful Republican president when it comes to this Republican-led Senate and Republican-led House. And dare I say it, Supreme Court as well. And the other part that Anna speaks to, which I think is extremely important, that is that Republicans, I hate to say it, when I speak about Republicans and the elected officials that are Republicans, they are much more cold-hearted than Democrats. They actually don't want to see people suffer. Democrats don't. But when I talk about Republicans that are everyday Republicans, I do believe that they cut off their nose to spite their face. The fact that 70% of Obama subsidies will be affecting red states, yeah, like I don't understand what they're not getting. We have a long history in this country. Even going back to FDR, where the reason he was able to get the New Deal through is because it was a promise that Black Americans would not be able to take advantage of it. And you see that today when you see Republicans, especially in the beginning of the shutdown, when they kept saying, oh, Democrats are trying to give illegal immigrants health care. And you see those same things, you see that same narrative being parroted in these town halls, when you see everyday Republicans saying, no, we don't need to do that because they're trying to give illegal aliens our tax dollars, our health care. That's not happening. But your hate for the other is enough for you to bite your nose and spite your face.
They could personally stomach. That was their party, not Republicans.
Only 7 Democrats voted for this.
Hey,
Not Democrat after Democrat. No.
he caucuses with the
There were
Democrats.
7,
He
and
made
then there
caucus
were
with it.
Don't split
He's
hairs.
an
He
independent.
caucuses with them.
And you're
Again, no shocker. Scott is on TV lying again and again and again. I really want to have faith in my American brothers and sisters, especially the ones that are across the aisle or across the ideological spectrum. But it's just not looking good, bro. It's honestly not looking good. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Peace.